Welcome to Strip Talking, a podcast from stripwalking.com.
God, this podcast sucks.
So do you know what the pirate's favorite letter is?
R.
They really love the C.
Shut the fuck up.
Never dealt with a stick that long.
Wouldn't the two circles represent tits?
Jeff is not, and I'm speaking myself in third person, I am not technologically advanced at all.
Did you have a fear boner?
It was probably the biggest fear boner I've had in quite some time.
Did you just say fear boner and your mom's gonna listen to this?
Here are your hosts, Jeff with a G and Mike with a...
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this episode of Strip Talking Podcast. I'm Jay, as you know. I'm joined here with Mike and a new special guest, Julie. Julie, thanks for joining us. Julie is a Vegas virgin.
But we aim to change that.
We do aim to change that. Pumping her up for her first visit one of these days to the great city of Las Vegas.
Thank you.
Jeff with a G having a few technical difficulties. Imagine that. May join us a bit later.
Was it technical difficulties or was it a tornado?
That's true.
Got blown away.
It is tornado season here in our home state, and you never quite know when they'll hit.
You know, we had to postpone this a day or two for you also, Jay. You just got back from Virginia, right?
That is true. Apologies for the delay. I did take a little trip to Virginia for niece's graduation. Got to see my brother, who I haven't seen in quite a long time. Took my mom with me. That's, I guess, highlights of the story. My mom certainly isn't a traveler, getting a bit older. I don't know, probably hasn't flown for maybe, I bet it's been 15 or 20 years since she's flown. So as we all know, flying is quite different now than it was 15 or 20 years ago.
So has she flown since 9/11?
You know, we were talking about that. She thinks maybe she did once, kind of right after when it was really bad, like security-wise was really bad. But that's maybe once, I guess, is my answer to that question.
She's probably not a podcast listener, is what you're saying.
No, but no, it was good. Her mobility is certainly not as good as it used to be at her age, but you know, we had real good luck in that respect. Getting wheelchairs in the airports on to all the gates, it worked out quite well. She can get around, but just likes to go a little slower than sometimes your travel plans require. So it worked real well.
What airline did you fly?
It was all Southwest this time, which we can get into that. A normal Southwest experience, a normal budget airline experience. I do honestly feel flight attendants as a whole are getting grumpier every day. It's just like they don't want to be there.
So I want to get back to something with Southwest that I just read about the other day. And since you mentioned the wheelchair thing, I guess it's kind of a thing to just say you have a disability or you need a wheelchair to board first on Southwest, because there's not really much verification that goes on.
There isn't a bit of verification.
I've noticed on Southwest flights occasionally, and maybe I'm not on the right flights, because the story said there's flights where there's just a huge line of wheelchairs that go on before anybody gets to board, and it's ridiculous. Was there a lot of pre-boarding going on with you?
Yes.
Did you notice people that magically could walk after they got off the flight?
Yes.
You did?
Absolutely. You know, some obvious ones that Southwest has that rule for. Some obviously milking the system yet. Yes. And to be honest, my mother and I should have been in that group, because it's for people that need more time to get down the jet.
So you didn't go in that group?
We did not. No, we didn't even do it.
Wow.
Yeah. I stood up for the way things are supposed to be. Didn't take advantage.
But the way things are supposed to be are people like you and your mother.
No, the real story is I upgraded our boarding position, so I didn't want to feel like I got cheated out of $40.
The A1 through 15 thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've done that before.
Yeah. But as a Southwest credit card holder, I get it for free, so works out real nice.
Did you take the exit row then?
Not the exit row, the front row, where there's more room. You know, they wouldn't let mom sit in exit row?
If you don't pre-board, I think technically she can.
Okay.
Unless it's like totally obvious that I don't know the rules.
Yeah.
All of them. But other than saying, which we'll get into the Frontier Lady, I guess we could talk about that now. Other than verbally confirming that you have to assist in an emergency, I don't think there's much. You also have to be 15, which your mother's 15, right?
Sure, she is. Yes, verified.
Isn't Southwest changing that free seating?
There's been rumors, but I don't think anything's been officially announced.
Honestly, I hate it. I hate it. Maybe we've talked about that before, but
You get in those exit rows, it's like, it feels like you have double the space. It feels like you're sitting in your living room. It's not that much extra space, but at least maybe it's just me.
it's probably only 5-6 inches more, but yeah. And for you as a tall guy, it would matter.
Well, a normal row, my knees are going to be touching the next seat. So to not have my knees touching the next seat, it's heaven. But I can see wanting to get off the plane first too.
Yeah.
And then there's this whole group of people that doesn't want to wait and get off the plane in order. That's a whole nother topic too.
Yeah. Plane etiquette. A lot of our conversations tend toward etiquette, don't they? It's interesting.
Yes. That's because we're grumpy old men.
Yeah, that's very true.
I got a Southwest story-ish.
Go ahead.
We go to Washington, D.C. We're part of a group that takes veterans to Washington, D.C. It's called an honor flight. And Southwest is actually the airline that everyone flies on, and any honor flight in the United States goes on Southwest. So, as you can imagine, veterans typically would take the oldest and the sickest so they can go see their monuments. So as we line up at the gate there, they allow us on first. There's, let's see, about 30 veterans, and then there's a person for every vet, and then there's the medical staff and sponsors. And it takes a long time because, lots of patients.
Right.
So we all sit in the front, we fill it to where it ends. And then, however, Southwest, they are awesome to us, but we then sit until everyone else boards or exits the plane when we're there. And then we take our time because some people were getting pretty antsy, like about making connecting flights, and they didn't want to be disrespectful to the veterans.
Mm-hmm.
But they needed to make, their flights. So, but their eyes are like, you can just tell they're like, holy crap, this isn't gonna go well, but it works out. Anyway, that's the story.
So it's not completely veterans on the flight though. It's just a regular flight that is partially blocked off for veterans. Oh,
yep.
That's cool.
Yep. The Southwest. Yeah, it is. We fly into Reagan or Baltimore, and they have just things set up for the veterans just to welcome them. And yeah, they do a really nice job.
That's awesome.
Get a fire hose salute. I'm saying that right.
Over the plane?
Yeah, where the fire truck is there with the hose, and
that'd be cool.
That's always kind of fun. Yeah.
That's cool that you do that too.
Oh yeah.
It is cool.
It's amazing. It really is.
DC is amazing to visit for anyone, but veterans especially. Mike, I don't think I ever told you this. I was tempted to strip walking DC video, up and down the mall or something at least, but the weather while we were there was pretty rough.
What?
The one day we got in DC was raining the whole time. So
on this trip?
Yeah.
You son of a bitch.
Well, I thought it was a good idea, but
yeah, it was a great idea.
The weather was just crap.
I didn't know you were going until you were already there.
Well, I checked the weather prior and didn't even bring it up. But it would be cool to have at least just, the main mall.
I wanted to get into have you signed up for those credit cards? Not to pry, but
the Chase one, yes.
Ooh.
Chase
Freedom?
Yeah. The link that you gave.
Sapphire Preferred? Or no?
Yeah.
Freedom Unlimited. You only did one of them?
Preferred. Yeah, the whole concept that Mike has brought up to us about, how you can get hotels and flights through these points, I guess you call them.
She kept calling them, what'd you call them? Flight miles. No, you called them flight miles.
So, and like credit card, it's like, don't use them. I mean, that was like, growing up, you don't use a credit card. You always use debit cards. And so in talking with him.
Such a bad myth.
We are kind of relooking, but it's going to be a really slow process. I've warned him up.
Jay, vouch for me.
Yeah, I will vouch. I also started slow and still am slow, so don't feel bad.
Okay. Yeah, I think last year we spent a lot. We traveled a lot for just kind of random reasons, and those tickets are damn expensive. When I think we took, I don't know, 6 flights, 8 flights, let's just say, between all of us. God, paying that credit card was a pain in the ass. Flight miles for free.
Flight miles.
Flight miles.
Flight miles.
Points. And so, because we do have,
I mean, I think they are called miles on the airlines, but flight miles is just, that's too much.
redundant
They're just all points. Let's just call them all points.
points. Yeah.
Jay, you should tell us about your Hawaii success story.
Yeah, with the credit card points. Yeah, and that's really how I became the Southwest cardholder that I mentioned earlier.
That you are today.
That I am today. No, they were running pretty good sign-up bonus there with their companion pass feature, which is pretty much buy one ticket, get one free. So
It is.
4 of us going to Hawaii, for the price of 2, and then used points to get those other 2. So pretty much got several $1,000s worth of flights for nothing.
Didn't you do hotel too?
Yeah, actually we did a little bit. The part of that trip we stayed in like an Airbnb sort of deal, but
You stayed in an Airbnb on points?
no. But there was a few hotel nights for sure that was on points there too, and a rental car, definitely.
Nice.
The Southwest cards through Chase. I think Chase has one of the better travel websites there are. Granted, I don't have the experience with others that you do, but
You mean using Chase points?
yeah.
Yes. Chase points are my favorite points.
Yeah, the Southwest part we really just use for the companion pass thing, and the rest were Chase.
But if you need more Southwest points, you can transfer Chase points to Southwest.
Yep, that's a good point.
I have a question for both of you. Jay, you have a Southwest credit card because you always fly Southwest. Mike, I don't know about you, but like for us, we don't plan necessarily a lot in advance, or maybe we're going to go see a sick friend or sick relative. So we just look for the cheapest, most, what works for our schedule and the cheapest flight out there. So what drives you to maybe choose the Southwest and you're going to use them every time? Or do you still like use other airlines? Are you committed?
I use whichever one I have points for.
Yeah.
Right, and those Chase points, like Mike was talking about, you can use for any airline. Southwest does tend to be my go-to. The airports that we use from here are pretty Southwest heavy, I suppose. Where you live, you have access to some bigger airports, so probably have some more options, which is nice.
There's a lot of Southwest in Kansas City, though. I assume you use Kansas City, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we use Kansas City.
Oh, that's right. They did build that new terminal in Kansas City, didn't they?
It's flippin' sweet compared to the old one. It's like
Those old ones were weird. Weren't they like round things? Circular terminals, and they were separate. They weren't all connected.
Yeah, they were separate. That's the different thing now. They just put everyone in and go wherever.
So I've actually Hawaii trips. I've taken one airline out and another one back because I don't have enough points to do it all one way.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It does. It does. I'm learning.
When you get a companion pass, then that really tends to make you. What a companion pass means is anytime you buy a ticket anywhere, somebody can go with you for free. And that includes if you use points.
Yep.
That would have been nice last year.
It was nice for Hawaii.
And it's good for the year you get it plus one more year. If you do it right, you can get it for almost 2 years.
I have so much to learn, Obi-Wan.
And what I do is, because you can only open or only get the bonus on the Southwest cards every 2 years. I think it's 2 years, 24 months. So I will alternate. My wife will have it for 2 years, and then I'll have it for 2 years. So at least one of us always has it. You have any other travel questions, Julie?
Do you redeem points? So let's go back to Chase, because that's what I signed up for. You said something about a Chase portal. Is that easy to navigate?
To book the travel?
I wouldn't say it's easy, but you'll figure it out.
I don't know. I would call it pretty easy. I mean, you log into their website and you click the travel link.
Yeah, and if you know somebody that knows how to use it, they'll help you use it for a small fee.
Is it set up like Expedia or?
So it's actually powered by, I think it's Expedia. So it's exactly the same stuff you find in Expedia. It's just basically skinned with Chase over top of it. Did you know that, Jay?
Yeah, I did know that actually. I've even went so far as to price check because I was always like, Chase is skimming a little off the top here, right? They gotta be doing something. But like this last trip to Virginia that I took, I went to Southwest's site directly, and a couple others, but the Chase site was actually like 4 cents cheaper or something. It was pretty much dead even.
I've seen it a little higher.
Really?
I'm willing to do that to use my points too.
Yeah, for sure. It's just like money, yeah.
So yeah, you just log in. You can search for rental cars. You can search for flights. So they list Southwest flights in there now.
Yep.
You used to have to call them because Southwest used to be real protective about
Oh.
not sharing data and all that shit.
Nope, I booked it right through there.
Nice.
Yep.
You can buy stuff like, well, I've mentioned you can buy tickets, Disneyland, Universal Studios, that kind of stuff too.
Through Chase?
Yeah, through their portal. So you use points.
Nice. So they keep track of your points on your account, right? So when you open up that portal, it's an exchange there and you're done.
So it's 1 cent per point, but if you have the Sapphire preferred card, which you will, then you get another 25%. So you get 1.25 cents per point.
Right.
Which adds up.
It does. Some of us have the reserve card.
No big deal.
No big deal. But that's 50% more. It's got a steep annual fee.
Gangsta.
So when you have $2,000, you actually have $3,000. It's kind of fun.
That's fun.
But the annual fee is $550.
Did I mishear you on that? Did you say $550?
Yeah.
Not pesos or euros.
But you get $300 travel credit right off the top. Anything that codes as travel, it just automatically, they give you a credit until you used up $300. And then now it's not quite as crazy an annual fee. Now it's like $250.
Yeah, because you know you're going to spend that $300.
It's so easy. Anything that codes as travel, it automatically just does it. You don't have to fill out any forms or anything. They automatically credit you. Use it without even realizing it half the time. Any stay at Holiday Inn or parking garage, whatever.
Bryce and I were having a conversation about.
Bryce is your husband, for the listeners.
Yes, he is.
Just clarifying. You just broke a lot of hearts.
Yeah, since he's a veteran.
Thank you for your service.
Yes. But USAA has been our go-to bank. Amazing service, just tons of stuff, and we've been very committed to them. And we didn't have any credit cards outside of them, so I was like asking him, like, so why did we just stick with this card? Why haven't we, done anything else to, get rewards or whatever? But then we looked at it, and it was like 10 or 11% interest. So I'm like, well, that makes some sense. But outside of that, I mean, they have some of their own reward programs, but nothing like we've talked about, or, there's no travel points, no hotel points or points in general. Now we're feeling like we've been suckered, for the past 20 years, and we were loyal for a reason, and now it's like you should look at options. Yes. Maybe that's the lesson learned.
I think it's AARP. Is that you think it's for old people, right? Or you have to be a certain age. I was a member for a year because anyone can join it. And
what benefits did you get?
None that I used because they all suck compared to the benefits I had on cards, discounts and things like that were way better on the cards. So in my mind, that AARP is kind of a scam because it's targeted at older people. Everyone thinks of it as an older person organization, but anybody can join it. And it's just not that.
What was your motivation?
Because I wanted to see what, you were
researching. It was research.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the same thing. I'm like, well, heck yeah, I want AARP benefits. But then I got in there and they just sucked. They weren't good.
Did they suck because of the age you're at?
It has nothing to do with age.
Really?
So, and this has been a few years, but if I remember right, so you'd go to the IHG website and there would be a standard rate, a AARP rate, and a standard IHG rewards member rate. Like the IHG rewards member rate was better than the AARP rate, something along those lines. It's just completely worthless. And there was, I don't remember anymore. I think maybe you got some lower tier status with some hotels or something, but you can get those through credit cards or status matching. It's just, I was not impressed. And it felt a little scammy.
That's too bad.
these older people aren't going to know any better.
Right.
So that's why they probably target that age group.
It's a vulnerable population for sure.
They think they're getting deals, but they're not.
My parents are in that population, and they use scare tactics.
AARP does?
No, not just. I think telemarketers or in general.
Yeah.
I mean, and
lots of scam phone calls. I'll tell you what's not a scam is the Wyndham Business Earner Card. It's a obscure bank. Barclay is the one that does it.
It's a fairly large bank, though.
Yeah, but in the credit card world, it's pretty obscure. Okay, maybe it's not obscure as far as banks, but in the credit card world, they don't have much for credit cards.
Right. It's not a Citibank or a Chase, yeah.
It's the big three, I would say. Maybe even it's only a big two is American Express and Chase.
Yeah. Capital One's up there.
Yeah, Capital One. They just have the one or two cards, though. First Bank, which is, I think, kind of a division of First National in Omaha, has a couple, but it's really just Chase and American Express. Anyway, so the Wyndham Business Earner, which it is a business card, so you at least have to have something that you can say is a business, which really isn't that hard,
Like running a podcast.
Seriously, that could count. People always get hung up on the have to have a business part and fearful of getting quote unquote caught. It's not like you're violating some law. If you were to get caught, the bank would close your credit card.
Sure.
It's not that dire. Yeah.
It's not pound me in the ass prison sort of time.
No, nothing like that. I'm not saying go out and lie and say you have a business when you don't. But my wife makes some trinkets and, cups and things and occasionally sells one to her friend. That's good enough business for me.
The IRS thinks so.
Yeah. This podcast is a business, even
right.
though, God, no, there's no revenue coming in.
Currently, the IRS owes us money. We could claim to be a tech support company for Jeff because we pretty much tell him how to do everything. We should charge him.
We should.
But yes, I'm getting us off track here.
You are. Wyndham credit card. It is the Wyndham Business Earner Credit Card, it's called. I've written an article or a blog article on our site about this. Once you get that card, you get diamond status with Wyndham, which is completely worthless, except they will match that. If you have the credit card, they will match that diamond status to Caesars in Las Vegas diamond status, which isn't completely worthless as of now. There have been a lot of rumors of them changing what you get for diamond status at Caesars, but to this point, they still give you no resort fees, no fees on a lot of things like early check-in, baggage, or bellhop fees, those kind of fees.
And you said Caesars Vegas, so it's truly just...
No, I meant the Caesars that is... I think they're headquartered in Vegas, right?
That is famous in Vegas.
But it still works like Caesars in Iowa or the new one that's opening in Columbus, Nebraska.
Harrah's is Caesars owned, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
The Horseshoe in Iowa is also Caesars owned.
Yeah.
So 2 out of the 3 big ones. They're in Kansas City too, I think.
There's a Harrah's pretty close to Kansas. Yeah, down there. Yeah.
They're all over the place. They're in Blackhawk and by Denver. Well, not a couple hours from Denver, Colorado. They're in a lot of spots. Atlantic City. What's the one in Louisiana? Biloxi. Anyway,
I don't know. I know there's a big Harrah's in New Orleans. I spent a month there one night. It was a very long night. What I'm trying to say.
So, and like I said, they keep reducing the benefits. Every casino seems to be doing that on their status. As of now, it's still worth getting. You also get a yearly $100, they call it a celebration dinner credit. It's just basically a credit for any of their restaurants. And I don't know if it works anywhere in Las Vegas, other than Las Vegas, but it's pretty easy to use in Las Vegas.
Sure.
And so my wife and I both opened the card. So We both use it. We both have $100. But then the other thing is, if you get the sign up bonus on the card, they will let you transfer the Wyndham points to Caesars points, which then gives you 1 cent per point that you can use. They'll just let you apply it to room charges or rooms or whatever. You can also use it on the website to pay for rooms. Gotcha. With the catch being you have to have enough to cover the entire cost. You can't partial pay, and so the sign up bonus usually is $50,000 to $60,000 or points, not dollars. 50 to 60,000 points, which right now it's 50,000 after you spend 4,000 in 3 months. But you can get another 50,000 if you spend 15K in 12 months.
Okay.
Which 15K is quite a bit for some people, most people.
For sure.
But 12 months is a pretty long time to do that. So,
especially like what you're saying is put everything on your credit card and not use
right.
debit cards.
Yep.
Jay, do you use debit cards yet?
Debit cards? No.
Thank God.
Yeah. Really? No. Oh my gosh. I don't know how I'm going to get weaned off those.
Credit card works just the same. You just got to swipe it or put the little chippy thing in there.
Right.
That's how you use them.
And pay it off.
True.
Beyond all the points, here's a reason to never use a debit card. You get hacked, right? Somebody starts using your card. That debit card is coming right out of your account. Until you get it sorted out, you're out that money. Credit card, you're going to call them up. They're going to take the charges off. It's going to bother you for maybe an hour, and you're not going to be out any money.
Yeah, I totally agree.
No debit cards, Julie.
I know it's going to take a bit.
Raise your right hand. Raise your right hand. That's not your right hand. Say no debit cards. I will not use a debit card. Repeat after me.
I will not use a debit card.
For any spending.
For any spending soon.
Ever.
Ever. Well, we're waiting for our credit cards to come in.
You put your hand down, though. I think you have your fingers crossed down there.
No. It's hard, though. Seriously.
It is not hard. Why is it hard?
Because it feels weird to do it. You're used to it. You're like, you're past this.
Like Jay said, it's exactly the same. Any place that takes debit cards takes credit cards.
You're dealing with someone who still writes checks.
My wife occasionally does that, and I yell at her when she writes a check.
Not often.
She gets a lashing, if you know what I mean.
Oh. Oh. Lucky girl. Lucky girl.
No, it's actually a lashing.
Oh. So
I would say take it out of your wallet, but the only reason I ever use mine is if I need cash out of the ATM, which is usually for gambling. It's always for gambling.
And booze, right?
Now, why would you use it for booze? Use a credit card.
Because it could be tracked. And then your wife knows how much you spend on booze.
I do the tracking in this family. I wear the pants, the tracking pants.
So here's an honest question, Mike. Over time, it gets to be where you have a lot of credit cards open, right? Do you tend to shelf the older cards once you've gotten through the sign-up bonus, or do you? Pretty good stack.
Wow.
That's just one.
So there's probably 40 in there in the stacks? 20? 40?
There has to be hundreds. I don't know.
And what's your credit score? It's like in the...
It's over 800.
Well, that's amazing.
Well, I do say that to brag, but...
Yeah, you should.
The point is, it doesn't kill your credit.
And that's the other myth I know we've talked about.
Yes, big myth. It could kill your credit if you run up a bunch of bills and don't pay it off and have a huge amount of debt. But and some people probably can't open cards without that happening. So I understand that it's not for everybody. But if you can open them, pay them off every month so you don't pay interest, keep track of them, then they're not going to kill your credit. In fact, they're going to help your credit because they'll increase your debt ratio or lower your debt ratio, I guess I should say. Give you more credit with less debt.
Sure.
The other thing we've talked about, I think I've talked about with one or both of you, is the ones without annual fees. And this is something that people, I think my parents told me, close those credit cards you aren't using. No, because one of the big factors is age of credit in your credit score. So if you're always closing your old credit cards, you're hurting your credit score because you're making your credit age less, your average credit age. So keep those cards open that you have. And sometimes some companies and cards will close cards after 5 or 6 years if you don't use them. You usually want to throw something on them once in a while just to keep them open.
And I guess that goes back to my question that started this. It takes a certain level of discipline, like you said, for sure.
It does.
But that stack of cards, how many of them do you use monthly or yearly even?
That was the other thing I was going to say. Most of these are closed now.
Sure.
So having said that, most of these have annual fees. Most of these are only valuable to me as getting the sign-up bonus.
Sure.
So you don't get the sign-up bonus and close them after a month or two because the banks will immediately flag you as a motherfucker who's screwing them out of credit card points. So, and they have done that anyway. Obviously, they're going to catch on to what you're doing. But you wait until the annual fee hits the next year, and then you call them and you close it, and they'll usually, about 99% of the time, they'll credit the annual fee back and close the account.
Gotcha.
Have you ever closed a credit card account and then year or two later go back to it?
Yes. That's called churning a credit card. And if you couldn't do that, this would be a one-hit wonder, this fun, because there's only so many credit cards you could do.
Right.
So yes. And there's tons of rules and things you learn to navigate. Oh, I've got an 800 credit score. I'm going to get any credit card I apply for. No, because once they figure out what you're doing, you're not profitable to them. I get plenty of denials with an 800 credit score. And it's not because it has nothing to do with my credit worthiness. It's because they know that I just opened the card a year ago, or I opened 3 other cards of theirs within the last 6 months. I think I mentioned, Julie, Chase has a well-known rule, the 524 rule, where if you have opened, they just check your credit report. And if they see 5 new credit cards within the last 24 months, you're automatically going to get denied. And that's new credit cards from any credit card company, not necessarily Chase. One of the ways that started to get around that is just open a lot of business credit cards, because business credit cards don't show up on your credit report.
Serious? Even though they're using your soch?
Yes. And even the funny thing is, even if it's a Chase business card and I'm applying for a Chase card, they're just looking at the credit report. So even if I have that card open, they're not looking at what I have I have on my account. They're just looking at my credit report. So it's like it doesn't exist to them. One of the big things, you learn all these things, and I started having trouble getting business credit cards after a while. And thought I was following all their rules, opening one every so often. And I learned that, and I didn't learn it on my own, reading different articles and people talking about it. They're looking more at the total credit you have with them. So I found that if I opened 2 business cards and they gave me like 15,000 of credit on each of them, and that would max out the amount that they're willing to give me on a business credit. So what I would do is call them up and reduce my credit on both of them to like $1,000. Then it would, I could open another card, no problem. And so we're talking about Chase points. I've kind of gotten in sort of a routine almost, you'd say now, of cycling through the Chase. There's 3. You've got the Chase Ink Preferred, the Chase Ink Cash, and the Chase Ink Unlimited. Just between my wife and I, and those 3 cards, just opening them, hitting the bonuses, closing them, waiting a little bit, opening them, rinse, repeat.
It's a lot to keep track of.
It's a little bit of work.
Yeah.
But
it has paid off.
You like it.
It's paid off. It's paid off big. And yes, I do. It's kind of fun. It takes a special person to find it fun.
It's a hobby.
It is.
Yeah. You could have way worse hobbies.
Mm.
And then it's fun to brag about one of the first Hawaii trip we rode or took American Airlines first class back. Have I told you this story, Jay?
Not that I remember.
So that was one of the examples where we flew one way on one airline and back on the other. But I was able to scrape together enough points, and this was several years ago. It's probably twice that amount of points now to do this, where we could fly on a 777 jet with the lie flat business seats.
Nice.
Slide down, and you're in the little cubicles, and the whole family got to fly back, which the Hawaii flight from Maui to Dallas is overnight. It's like 8 or 9 hours. You leave at like 8 o'clock at night and you fly overnight. So being able to actually lay down and sleep is huge. The girls still talk about that flight.
Has it ruined them?
Well, like they're always like, when are we going to fly first class again, Dad?
Yeah.
Probably never.
So now here's a question for both of you. Then do you share this knowledge with your children, your teens?
Good question, Julie. They're not old enough to get their own credit cards, or I would have them. And I will teach this to them when they're ready to learn it. But I have already added them as authorized users on one of my cards. They don't have those cards, but they are on an account just so that their credit can start being built.
That's a good idea. That's something I should do.
So when it is time, or when they can start getting cards, they can hit the ground running. They don't have to screw around with building their credit first, hopefully, as much.
Yeah.
Because you can add them as authorized users a lot earlier than they can get their own credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
I think I did it. One of them was probably 9 or 10. And that's in one of these piles. They're never going to be able to use those cards. But authorized users do show up, if you're an authorized user, on your credit report. If I add Jay as an authorized user on one of my personal cards, it will show up on his credit report.
As it should. I mean, that's only fair.
If you didn't want it, you could get it taken off.
Yeah. I too have added my kids. They're
Nice.
a little bit older than yours, so they do carry it. Their own cards.
Nice.
And I think that initial just learning how to carry one, how to manage it, how to be responsible for it has to come before any work and points lessons.
Mm-hmm.
Because that just general responsibility, none of the rest of it will work without that. So teach that first is my lesson there.
When they're old enough to open cards, though, what's stopping you from opening them and taking the points for yourself?
Excellent point. Excellent point.
I mean, they've been dragging my points down for years. If I only had to plan trips for 2 people instead of 4, just think how much further my points would have gone.
Yeah, like twice as far.
At least.
I'm no mathematician, but
So maybe this is a chance for my husband and I to break the cycle for our children. No debit cards.
Yes.
Obviously, my son is 18. He's had a debit card and does not have a credit card.
Julie.
Again, I know. See? But this is before all of this. All those decisions were made in a cloud of just stupidity.
Jay, do your daughters have debit cards?
no.
No, that's silly.
No, just credit. But in today's world, I mean, it is important to know how to use it, how to manage it.
Yeah.
Debit or credit?
Credit, credit specifically. I mean, back when all 3 of us went to college, I shouldn't speak for the rest of you, but I know I certainly didn't have the fiscal training that maybe I should have. Luckily, I didn't get in too much trouble, but a lot of people did. A lot of people still do.
I am really pissed that I didn't get onto the credit card stuff until it's a lot less lucrative than it was 15 years ago. Like if I see on those forums that I'm on some of the shit that you used to be able to do with churning and just opening, closing, and how many points you could rack up and stuff like that. That would have been a fun time. I would have done lots of business class trips to Hawaii, let's say.
Yeah, I knew you in college. I wish you would have also, because I'd have went with you.
Well, I don't know if I'm talking about that far back, but I was pretty dumb back then.
Yeah, but the credit card culture is certainly much different than it was back then. I'm sure the banks had to fight harder for
Back
cardholders.
then, we were just happy to get a free T-shirt.
Yeah, in the student union. Yep. They set up those little tables and just got every student they could in financial trouble for years.
Yep. That still goes on, I bet.
Sure it does.
And I cringe at the, like the Target cards. Any card that doesn't have rewards or doesn't have some kind of sign-up bonuses. What are you doing?
Yeah, no value there.
And again, what people don't understand too, even when you say, oh, I'm into credit card points, it's not about taking a credit card with rewards and spending on it. That's not where you're racking up. It is. I mean, it is. That's how you get the sign-up bonuses. But it's not about the everyday spending, racking up the points. That's not how you rack up the points. Does that make sense? Unless you have a shit ton of spend, you're going to get nowhere.
Sure. Yep.
Jay, did you know you could have weddings on the high roller?
No, I did not.
I was listening to the 360 Vegas podcast, I think it was last week, and they were talking about that. I had no idea.
That's a great idea. What, it takes a half hour to get around it, right? That's really all the longer a wedding should be anyway.
Yes.
Ceremony-wise. So that is legitimately a perfect idea.
I would venture to guess that most Vegas weddings aren't longer than half an hour.
Good point. Yeah.
So you say I do at the top.
Definitely. But then what do you do on the way down? When you say I do, it's pretty much over. It's like the last part.
Well, you kiss. Maybe you get the high roller achievement.
While the guests are taking pictures of the beautiful skyline. Yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant like for OnlyFans or something.
Or for documentation, yeah. I think that's a great idea.
Have I told you about my Cosmo Coitus.com plan?
Cosmo Coitus.
I told Zach from the Vegas Vice podcast that CosmoCoitus.com was just going to be the URL. My plan was just to basically rent a room at Cosmo overlooking the Bellagio and then sublease it or whatever you want to call it by the hour out to people that wanted to do it on the balcony.
Okay. So you would have consent to videotape.
I mean, you'd have to keep it on the Well, actually, the videotape, that wasn't even part of my plan. Yeah, why not? If you rent it for, I don't know, what is it, $300 a night, and then you rent it by the half hour or hour for $50 or $100, then they don't have to, because that's like an achievement too, a Vegas achievement.
Sure, totally.
If you stay at like Paris or Planet Hollywood, you're supposed to be watching across at Cosmo, and if you happen to be looking at the right moment, you're likely to see some coitus going on. Some of it is, it's also rumored to be a pretty popular porn filming location.
Gotcha. I can see that. Is there sanitation of any sort between the half-hour increments?
Does there have to be?
That's going to cut into your profit margin.
Does there have to be?
As a healthcare provider, I would say.
Nobody asked you, healthcare provider.
You want a little wipe down in between, but at your own risk when you're in Vegas. So
yeah, hey, those rooms aren't that expensive.
Alcohol's not that expensive.
Alcohol's not either. But my point is, you could turn a profit pretty easily. You just
What if they're not done?
Then they get charged for another hour. But I mean, who's not going to be able to be done in an hour? Really, you could do it probably every 10 minutes.
Probably.
Leaving time for sanitation.
There you go.
Thanks, Jay. Yeah.
But CosmoCoitus.com, I mean, that's perfect URL, right?
Perfect URL. Yeah. You got that part figured out for sure.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of your plan, maybe some some details need stitched up there, but
you could sell. Maybe that's an upgrade. Cleaning's an upgrade.
Okay.
You could sell
upcharge
condoms and lube and
little snacks for after.
Snacks.
Yeah. Why not?
Jay comes in with the food.
Edible panties or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh, endless opportunities there. But like those cameras they have on roller coasters where you can get a picture when you're done.
So getting back to what you mentioned and Zach mentioned, though, if you got them to sign a release or something, then maybe you could start an OnlyFans page also. You've got 2 revenue streams.
2 revenue streams, probably, yeah, with consent, I think that'd be 100% okay.
Why would they consent, though, without a free pair of edible panties or something?
We could make that happen. I think that's where the real money's going to be.
The edible panties?
No, the OnlyFans part. Although edible panties, I'm sure, have a high markup, a very high profit margin. But
There's a lot of money in OnlyFans, right, Julie?
I am not for sure. I do not know.
Mm-hmm.
I like this idea. I'd like to see it through.
We need to flesh it out.
I would like to be your first customer, not your second or third, but first. At least first of the night.
So you are going to sign the consent form?
I'd sign it. I get a URL I can send all my friends, right?
Will your wife sign it? Or is your wife going to be the other half?
Yeah, sure. Just sign it. I don't want to put words in her mouth. Insert joke there, but...
Have you been on those balconies?
No.
It's kind of interesting because they're not completely sealed off from the one next to you. There's like a divider, but like there's a gap.
3rd revenue stream. Next door.
It's not all that private. You got to be a little discreet. So I've heard, but I have stayed there and checked that achievement off.
I like it. I like it a lot.
You can get I have not stayed in the corner rooms, which have the wraparound balcony. That might be a little more private. You have a little more room.
Yeah.
I don't think Cosmo would be too excited. Have to be kind of discreet. It's probably against their terms of service.
Oh, it's probably worked into the resort fees somehow.
I could resort fees. You want to do some rapid fire questions? Julie, you know the rules. You heard me say it.
Might need to repeat them.
You only get one answer. No ties. You have to pick one answer.
Okay.
Right? You seem confused already.
No, I'm good. Good. One answer.
You can't be wishy-washy like Jeff. It's this or this or this.
Yeah.
Really, the only other rule is don't think that there is no right and wrong answer. There is a right answer, and it's whatever my answer is.
I know.
And it's whoever's making the question gets to have the right answer. Who's going to answer first?
Ladies first.
Oh, Jay.
I'm a gentleman. You know that.
Yes, I do.
Rapid fire questions. Best month?
December.
June.
May. December? Really?
I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
Why?
My birthday's in December. It's Christmas and family and...
Cold and snow and...
Yeah, but it's a great time of year.
Icy and there's people everywhere and bills.
Scrooges.
Stress of the holidays.
There's always bills.
Another year starting?
Yeah. You didn't even keep up last year's New Year's resolution and now you're supposed to make a new one? I will give a side note. I work for a retail company. December, not fun in retail.
I bet not.
So it has spoiled me for life on December.
But who wants to get older?
All right.
Birthday.
Well, it just happens, so we might as well.
So the points are 2 points for me, 1 for Jay, 0 for Julie.
Oh, I didn't know there was a scoring system now. That's
I
new.
just thought of it. We're gonna write these down here somewhere.
This was not approved by the podcast committee.
Yeah, it did not go through committee.
Next time we'll have a scoreboard. I'll figure that out. Jay, just keep track of it in your head.
Okay, done.
So our audience can see.
Let me whip up a quick spreadsheet.
That's a good point, Julie. I'll give you half a point for that. Yes, spreadsheet. That's a good IT thing.
Opening one right now. Got it. Ready.
Okay. 2, 2. I'm pointing at you. 1, Julie, 0.
Half. You get a half.
Yes, like a bonus half.
Okay.
But that was not for question 1. That was like a side thing, a side piece.
Mm-hmm.
She had another 0.25 for the way she said, mm-hmm.
Got it.
All right. Question 2. Best Simpsons character.
The guy at the bar. I don't know his name. Oh, skip me.
Oh, the old Mo. It's Mo's Tavern.
Mo! Yes, Mo. Thank you, Jay.
Yeah, he is.
You can have my point.
He is funny. He is funny, but that's incorrect. It's Homer.
It's absolutely Homer.
Spider Pig, Spider Pig.
It's not even close. 2 -1 because you didn't even know the name.
I know.
I don't know if my spreadsheet can handle negatives. Oh, yep, it did. It did.
Of course it can. Of course it can. Best chocolate bar.
Hershey's dark.
Got to define the question. Chocolate meaning pure chocolate?
The question is best chocolate bar.
Hershey's dark chocolate.
Before you answer, Julie, I know you've tried to answer twice.
It's okay. I like saying it. Am I dark chocolate?
By the answer Mike gave.
What are you saying exactly, Julie, about dark chocolate?
I think you know what I'm saying.
Okay, Jay, continue.
I was trying to think of like a cacao joke to go along with Julie's statement, but it just didn't come to me.
-5 points for Julie because I'm a white guy.
The way you answered my clarifying question, I assume you will accept Hershey's with almonds, but not like a Snickers bar as an
Does
answer.
Snickers have chocolate in it?
It has chocolate around it. It's encapsulated.
It's an open-ended question, so
Okay.
if it has a chocolate, I'd say it's a chocolate bar.
Okay, and that's what I was really trying to clarify. Julie, please give your answer again for the record.
For the record, Hershey's chocolate bar. Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate bar.
That is incorrect. It's Snickers. Although, to call that a chocolate bar is tough, but Mike clarified.
So if you had just said chocolate, Hershey's chocolate bar, you might have actually got positive points. But dark chocolate is awful.
It's good. It's so good.
No,
So good.
-2.
Not for fat people. You're skinny. You can eat little bits of chocolate because that's all you can handle of dark chocolate.
It's a healthier, they say, but I say all chocolate is good. But I love dark chocolate.
So then -2 still.
Okay.
What was yours, Jay? You went Snickers?
By the clarified definition of your question, I gotta go Snicker. No, I don't agree that it's a chocolate bar.
Well, I don't think Snickers is all that good. I don't think that's a good choice.
Oh, it could be a meal. It is really good.
It satisfies.
Very.
What's your answer then?
So my favorite candy bar really doesn't have a lot of chocolate in it. I would say Butterfinger.
This got as much chocolate as a Snickers. Fits your clarified definition.
It's probably less, actually.
Probably a little less.
All right, everybody just no points. No points awarded on that one.
Should I remove Julie's -2?
No. Because dark chocolate still sucks.
Oh.
It's high in antioxidants.
Is it really?
It is.
How do you know that?
Jay's the man.
It does. That's why they say it's healthier. Like Julie said, it's
All right, -2 for you also.
doesn't usually have as much sugar added as milk chocolate.
All right, best.
-2 has been noted.
This is going to be another one where you get all prickly about the question, but it's open-ended.
I'm just trying to have accurate questions so that arguments are easier to settle.
Best type of chips.
I can see where you would think that would take clarification, but
Tortilla.
I get the point of the question.
Okay. Julie says tortilla.
Generic tortilla, just any tortilla chip.
Yeah.
Tostitos. Just raw dogging them with no dip or
No Cool Ranch
No, we need queso. Tortilla chips with queso.
to dip them in, or like queso flavored.
there's nothing in the question that allows for dip, but there's nothing in the question that says you can't have dip included in your answer.
Yeah, queso dip. Yep.
Julie probably gets +1 for the addition of dip.
Wait, who's giving out the points here?
Okay, I'm going to be very specific.
All right.
Kettle cooked, salt and vinegar flavored.
I'm not man enough for that.
I don't like the salt and vinegar.
That
ones.
vinegar.
Oh, it's so good. So good. I once ate an entire bag of salt and vinegar chips, like in kettle cooked, so they're super crunchy, like an hour before I went to the dentist for a cleaning. Didn't really think about it being a bad idea until I got to the dentist, and a lot of the things they put in your mouth are pretty sensitive to open wounds that come from your mouth being cut up with crispy vinegar coated chips, to the point the dental hygienist lady was like, "Did you eat something like sharp or something?" Like she could see cuts in my mouth.
Something sharp is what she said.
That's exactly what she said. And I was like, well,
Yeah, had some razor blades before I came here.
oh, and she was really cute, and she obviously could tell I was fat, and I didn't want to admit that I ate an entire bag of kettle cooked salt and vinegar chips, and it was awkward. It was awkward. I go to a different dentist now.
Do you eat something sharp?
I mean, the dentist is pretty awkward to begin with.
It really is. Mike, your answer?
You both incorrect. It is cheddar and sour cream.
Yeah, Ruffles.
Any kind, but Ruffles are really good, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are.
Ruffles.
I even like the baked ones. They're not as good, but I'll eat them.
Very healthy of you.
Thank you. So I got the points for that one.
Okay, 2 for you. We'll go 1 for me just because of the story, and 0 for Julie, although 1 for the dip.
We have no idea what you're putting up anyway. You could be putting 10 for yourself every time.
Let's just do a check of the scoreboard right now. After 3 questions, Mike, you are leading.
4 questions.
Was that 4?
That already makes me question the scores.
You're correct. That was 4. Well, there's been a lot of auxiliary additions and subtractions here.
Yes.
My spreadsheet was designed in about 20 seconds, so bear with me. But
I understand.
Mike, you are in the lead with 6 points. Jay, I am in second with 2 points. And Julie, you are in last place with negative 6.25 points.
This thing's rigged.
You could come back. There's some high value questions coming. Best type of food cuisine, i.e. Italian, Chinese, Mexican, Greek, some of that other specialty shit that I never even on my radar.
Let's go Indian.
Yes,
Indian.
That was one of those specialty shit that's not even on my radar.
That's so good though. They make some great.
Isn't it all just like all liquid stuff?
No.
Somebody years ago drugged me to that one truck stop that, you know what I'm talking about, Jay?
If your experience with Indian food is only a single truck stop on the interstate,
you know what I'm talking about.
In Nebraska.
I don't know that you can judge. Yeah, in central Nebraska.
It just seemed like it was all just, everything was a liquid. I didn't eat anything. I just sat there.
There are a lot of sauces, which is likely what you were seeing. To say liquid, not super accurate.
Obviously, that's -5 for Julie. I mean, you could have went Italian or something, but no, you had to go Indian. Is that really your favorite?
Yeah, I do like it. My neighbor's Indian, and so they'll make butter chicken or stuff, and they'll be like, "Hey, you want some?" Sure. But it's so flavorful though. It's really super good food. If I'm gonna like taste, like my palate is gonna get all flavors, like I would say Indian food definitely.
Is the butter chicken liquid?
There is sauce to it, yeah. And then you put it over rice. My friend, or she says it's the gringo food. It's the white man's food of India, because it's super good.
The fried rice of India, yeah.
I also like sushi. That's a close second. I'm a huge sushi. Oh, I love it. So sorry.
All right. I'm going to pretend you didn't say that so I don't have to add more negative points to your score.
Okay.
I was also going to say Indian, but I better change my answer.
See, Jay, we're the right ones.
Mike is the worst person to score this question.
Oh, for sure. Wait till you hear my answer.
You wouldn't accept Indian. You wouldn't accept Thai. Thai food is amazing. You wouldn't accept anything seafood based like sushi, which is fantastic.
Is that a food cuisine type, though, seafood? Maybe it is.
Yep.
Traditionally thought of as
Japanese.
Japanese. Traditionally thought of as Japanese, which...
Wait, seafood is Japanese?
No, sushi, sorry.
Oh.
Sushi specifically. Seafood, though, no, not a cuisine.
Seafood, eat food. It's a dad joke. That was my dad joke for the night.
That's good. If the question would have been phrased differently, like, and we've done a question similar to this, if you could only eat one type of food for the rest of your life or whatever. But that's not the question.
No, we did restaurants.
We did restaurants, yep, top 3.
This is your favorite food cuisine.
Hardee's Carl Jr. was...
Don't start on Monster Burger, please.
Yeah. So good.
I can't go down that rabbit hole right now.
My favorite is American. American, it is.
That's the right answer.
That's the right answer. It is.
Oh, shut up.
I was waiting for you to say something else, and I was going to say, no, it's American, motherfucker.
No. If I think about what I honestly eat the most of, or what I tend toward, obviously you'd have to kick pizza out, but what I tend toward eating is burgers, American food. So that's my answer. To be fair and clear, I love all cuisines, including the weird ones that Mike doesn't even probably know about.
Which is most of them. Jay and I get 5 points each because we got the right answer.
I kind of did that on purpose, Julie, because I knew that's what he was going to answer. I'm not going to do the -5 he said for you.
Bros before hoes, I understand.
All right, next question. NFL team you hate the most? Easy.
I'll go first. Raiders. 5 points. Already typed it in.
There's no way either of you can get this right.
It's changed, and right now I'm not liking the Broncos. There you go.
That is close. That would be a close second for me. Actually.
I'll accept Broncos. As a Chiefs fan, I accept Broncos as an answer.
I will give you more points than Jay gets, which is -5. The right answer for the team you hate most is the Chiefs, yes.
False. -5. Julie and I get 10.
Put that finger down.
Okay.
That would have worked better if Jeff was here, that question. I didn't think that one through with a bunch of Chiefs fans around me. All right, then.
Love me some Mahomes. Okay, yes.
Celebrity you hate celebrity you hate the most. Speaking of,
I'm sorry, I'm dragging on these questions. Kanye, kind of like the Kardashian things.
Kanye West.
Yeah, I'm kind of just overdone hearing about anything about him. Don't care.
That's a really good answer.
That is a good answer.
That's a +5.
+5, okay.
I'm coming back.
Yeah, you're in second place now. Oh, that's tough. There are so many to hate.
I think Kanye West is the right answer.
That's pretty good.
That's a good answer.
Thank you. I feel good about myself now.
It's pretty good. I'll be on the Kanye train.
Let's all hate Kanye West.
Okay. 10 points all. 5 points all.
Well,
yeah.
6 for me.
Okay.
You gave me 0. Best U.S. city that's not Vegas.
That's a wide criteria.
What'd you say? Crotchteria?
Criteria, sorry. I think I did say crotchteria. I'm going to pass. I don't know if I have one.
I know I was just there, so it's fresh in my mind.
Yes.
But I do honestly love Washington, D.C.
Was that the first time you've been there?
Nope. I've been there 3, 4 times. 3, 4, 5 times, somewhere in there. With different levels of tourism in my trips. Like this last trip, we really only spent 1 day there and it was raining, so we spent a lot of time in Smithsonian's and museums and that sort of thing indoors, which are great. It's part of why I love it, to be honest. But just
Did you go to the Holocaust?
Not this trip. I have been there before, but not this trip. Pretty crazy, pretty moving.
Very.
But all the monuments and just the difference between the monuments, like the Vietnam Wall is so different than the Lincoln Memorial or whatever. It's just the style of them is so wide ranging. It's pretty cool. Different artists and different concepts to them. It's really neat. So that's what I'm going to say.
Korean is my favorite one.
Statues walking, yeah.
And I've heard I haven't seen it in the evening, but I would like to. I heard it's just pretty amazing.
Yeah. Yep, that is very cool. Arlington Cemetery is amazing. Just it's all cool.
Is that your answer too, Julie?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, please. DC.
Well, I don't have an answer that is as respectful as that.
I take that as a compliment.
I've never been to DC though, so.
So what's your real answer then?
I'd probably say Orlando. Been there a lot.
Fair.
We're a theme park family.
Respectable answer also. That's tough to score.
Well, we can see who loves America.
Yeah.
-5 to Julie for shaming me. 5 points to Jay, though, for a good answer.
Okay. We'll go 5 across the board. All respectable.
Celebrity you want to go to Vegas with?
The Rock.
Why do you say that, Julie?
He's just.
Why do you laugh like that, Julie?
I would just feel very safe around.
So it's a security thing. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Only
We
security.
believe you there.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with CosmoCoitus.com?
I just happened to hear about that.
Holy cow, this is tough.
I'd say probably Kanye.
You'd have a good time.
Who would I go with? Yeah, that is kind of tough. Do you have an answer, Jay?
I'm torn here because half of me wants to pick somebody like that would be super fun to party with, and like Snoop Dogg or something. Somebody that would just go crazy in Vegas. And then part of me wants to pick like
To go the Julie route and pick somebody attractive?
a super hot girl. Yeah. I'd probably still lean toward the fun one though, because what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
Snoop Dogg's going to have a ton of super hot girls around him.
Ah, good point.
He's a twofer.
Rather easy ones.
So he's the full package. Snoop Dogg's my answer.
That's a good answer.
Tough question though.
+5 for explaining it to you.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know who I'd go with. Oh, I don't think I'd pick Snoop Dogg.
You can come along in the limo if you want.
Big J from the Strip Talking podcast is who I'd go with.
Yes. I've heard he's quite fun in Vegas.
No,
Yep.
he knows how to party.
Psychoanalyzing the house edge on different bets. It's what brings fun to Vegas. Math.
Most underrated rock band in the history of the universe.
This is easy.
Chevelle.
This is easy. Chevelle, no question.
1,000 points for everybody. Number 1 must-see or must-do thing in Vegas besides gambling. This might be tough for Julie.
I'd like to see a real prostitute.
+100.
Vegas prostitute,
What are you going to do after you get out of the airport?
You'd like to see one? Or
Actually, I wouldn't mind talking to them and just getting kind of the down low on their life as a Vegas prostitute. It would probably be a really sad conversation, but
I'd like to do that too.
Yeah, Jay, it's to you, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I mean, there's some things that are pretty famous. The fountains.
The fountains.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fountains would be fun. Yeah, probably the fountains.
Even the high roller, we've talked about that lots of times.
Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, Stratosphere.
Oh yeah, Stratosphere is a good one.
I think my answer is just going to be Fremont Street Experience, though. Must do.
That's not that great. I'm saying it's, as an answer, it's not that great. Fremont Street Experience you should experience, but
Yeah.
I don't know if it's the top thing.
Okay. Fremont Street is kind of the downtown, old downtown Vegas. The one, it has like the light canopy over it. I'm sure you've seen pictures.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys were talking about it too, I think.
Yeah.
Julie, you have got to go to Vegas. Jay, you
I
too.
will someday.
We're still waiting for your answer to the question.
Hoover Dam.
What was That's it.
He's going to say it's not even in Vegas, right?
Well, it is associated with Vegas. Most people that go there probably start in Vegas.
That's fair. It's not in Vegas.
It did not enter my mind as an option, but that doesn't make it wrong. I have been there. It is cool. I was there pre 9/11 even.
I'd probably say something boring otherwise, like the fountains or
Doesn't Jeff like the garden?
the
Did
conservatory.
you mention that?
Bellagio
The
Conservatory.
conservatory.
It's hard when you take gambling out because that's the best thing.
I accept Hoover Dam. I was kind of mad I didn't think about it.
If you have not been there, you need to see the Hoover Dam.
But you could say that about Fremont
I like
Street.
to see it.
But if you can only do one for some weird reason, you got to go to the Hoover Dam.
I feel like I would take my family or my kids to the Hoover Dam, but then I or my husband and I would go downtown.
And I have taken my kids to the Hoover Dam, but you've taken your kids to Fremont Street.
That is true. I have. It was life-changing.
I think the Hoover Dam's more life-changing than Fremont Street.
Yeah. Well, at my kids' age, Fremont Street was pretty life-changing. But to your point, Hoover Dam is pretty crazy. There's no other word. Crazy cool.
So how are we doing the points on this?
What did Julie say?
A prostitute.
Oh, that's right.
Prostitute in Bellagio Fountains.
It's probably just 2 points straight across.
Did you know that the Bellagio Fountains has like a dedicated dive team of like 20 guys?
How deep are the fountains? I didn't ever think they were even that deep.
I should be ready for that follow-up question when I spout that fact out, shouldn't I?
No, I just never even.
When you said divers, it made me think.
I said that wrong. Scuba certified team of 10 to 20 people, I think.
8.5 acres, averages 7 feet deep, but ranges from 4 to 13.
That's why you need a Bellagio Fountains lifeguard.
That's true.
Get the shirt on our website, stripwalking.com.
22 million gallons of water.
For a desert,
You know, if you haven't ever been to Vegas, Bellagio Fountains is probably on this.
Honestly, yeah. They're just iconic.
mm-hmm.
But it's not really a challenge to go see them.
No, middle of the strip, very common part of the strip.
Yeah, it would be kind of hard to not see them.
Yeah, unless there's an F1 race in town, and then you can't see them hardly at all.
That's true. Or like the 2 months leading up to it when they have to build the track.
Right.
All right, we're on the last one. But this is the best question. And it's difficult and fun.
That's what my wife says I am, difficult and fun.
Best type of sandwich. So as a not comprehensive list, patty melt, ham and cheese, pastrami, Cuban, PB&J, French dip, meatball sub, roast beef, barbecue pulled pork, club, BLT, cheesesteak, grilled cheese, Italian sub, or something else you may think of. You may only choose one.
The psychology around how your list of examples got put together is interesting.
You're overthinking it.
And I thought this would turn into a debate about whether a hot dog is a sandwich, things like that. But
Is that what you want to go with, a hot dog?
no, no, I got my answer.
You already got your answer.
Yeah.
I too have an answer, which will cause controversy. Runza.
Okay, a stuffed sandwich. For our listeners outside the Midwest, a runza, based on a classic German dish that originated in Russia called a
I think it has
gyros.
to be a national sandwich.
What's a national sandwich?
I don't know. Everything with us has to be national.
I was educating our listeners on what a runza is, Mike,
The beer rock.
based on a dish brought to the U.S. by Germans, although it originated in Russia.
I don't know if I can allow runza. It kind of isn't the spirit of the question.
Oh, but they're so good. And
I agree they're good, but I don't think they're a sandwich either. Jay, what do you got?
Monster burger.
they still make those.
That's too specific.
Too specific, okay. It's the right answer.
Your answer then is just burger.
I am actually going to choose one from your list.
And I don't know. Is a burger on my list?
Not specifically. I listened very closely because I knew my answer the minute you said the question.
Best type of sandwich. I don't think a burger is a sandwich. Is a burger a sandwich? Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Here, now we're getting into the debate.
A hot dog ain't a sandwich. I don't think a burger is either. What, you think a hot dog's a sandwich?
I think a hot dog as a sandwich is the debate, but a burger not a sandwich? I don't think that's even a debate.
When you say sandwich, you don't think burger.
When you asked the question, I immediately thought Monster Burger. Yeah.
All right.
In the spirit of the question, I understand.
You could stick with burger if you want to get third place.
There's so many options with burger. You listed many good ones.
I know. Just out of that list, it's tough to pick if you have to stick with that list.
Yeah.
If I had to stick with the list, cheesesteak, Philly cheesesteak.
Pretty good choice.
It is. It's wrong, but it's a pretty good choice.
Thanks.
I would pick Cuban.
That is completely wrong.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had one. Need to try it.
If you had a good one, you'd remember it.
I think I've had them there.
Pickles.
The pickles is what kills it.
Pickles what makes it. It's what makes it famous. Otherwise, you just got a pork sandwich. Nothing wrong with that.
I didn't put Monte Cristo on there from our last podcast.
You're counting that a sandwich and not a burger?
How is that a burger?
No, I'm saying you're counting that as a sandwich, but not counting a burger as one.
What is your definition of a Monte Cristo?
Squish it together, then battered and fried.
Anything? Does it matter what's in it?
I suppose classically there's certain ingredients. I don't know what they are specifically. Okay, so you're counting the friedness of it and even the batter as more of a preparation method than anything.
I feel like I'm treading into dangerous territory, challenging a certified Kansas City something master.
KCBS certified barbecue judge. We'll come back to that, but
Does Julie know you're a blah, 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 blah?
well, if she's a frequent listener of the podcast, she does, yeah.
She hasn't heard the last episode, though.
Oh, true. Okay. I don't remember what episode we talked about that on, but
Last episode. I edited it the last 4 days, so I'm very familiar with the last episode.
Julie, you had asked about barbecue earlier. We never came back to that, so we should now, since we're talking about food. Yes, I am a certified KCBS barbecue judge, took the classes, passed the test. You may ask why I didn't pick a barbecue sandwich.
I would ask that.
I believe,
Barbecue shouldn't be on a sandwich.
as a purist, I don't want to say it shouldn't because I have eaten about a gazillion barbecue sandwiches in my life. I would put anything on a sandwich, to be honest. But as a purist, I do like just straight barbecue, not on a sandwich. I have never turned down a barbecue sandwich. No, never. But a Cuban has a little bit of a barbecue feel to it with the pork, even if it's not traditionally smoked.
So my answer is club. Love a good club.
That is the most boring sandwich.
Go ahead. Tell me why.
It's just normal. It's got normal stuff on it.
Which of these doesn't have normal stuff on it? You want me to go ham and cheese? Because that's a go-to for me.
It's pretty normal. Nothing wrong with normal. Nothing wrong with normal. But the best.
Cuban isn't normal, I guess, as far as that list.
The best. Your question was the best.
What's the meat on the Cuban?
Pork and usually like a pulled pork almost, and then a ham of some sort also.
So it's pig on pig.
I was just gonna say. So it's pig and some pickles.
Well, there's usually mustard. Sometimes mustard.
Well, you could put mustard on a ham and cheese.
True. Cheese, of course. There's no veggies on the thing. If you count the pickle, I guess, maybe as a former vegetable. But
when I get a Cuban somewhere, I'm taking the pickle off, but then it's just a pulled pork is what you're telling me?
yeah, roast pork and ham sandwich with some cheese on it. Usually Swiss cheese, which is good cheese.
All right, so the final score is...
I feel like we've lost our way. What's the sandwich score?
I got 50 points.
Okay, you got 50 boring sandwich points. Is the part you like where they like put the toothpick in it?
That's kind of fun. Yeah. And that extra piece of bread, kind of like a Big Mac with an extra bun. The mayo, I like mayo.
Yeah, mayo's great.
Like Monster Burger mayo.
Yeah, it's what makes the Monster Burger, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that and the bacon and the cheese.
The triangles, that's kind of fun.
Is the bread toasted in your dream sandwich?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Good.
Toasted.
At least that's right.
And I don't like them grilled or hot.
Like pressed or...
Right. No, just the bread's
Like
toasted.
a panini?
Yes, not a panini.
A Cuban sandwich is traditionally pressed.
Speaking of pressed, we're pressed for time, so we probably better wrap this up. Although I don't like club sandwiches as wraps. I definitely want regular bread there.
But do you think Is a wrap a sandwich? Does putting
No.
sandwich ingredients in a tortilla remove it from a sandwich designation?
Yes.
Even if you press it? Because you can grill a wrap.
It's almost like a burrito then.
Yeah, I would agree. Burritos are not sandwiches. Hot dogs, maybe.
No, hot dog is not a sandwich. You're on the hot dog is a sandwich side?
I've pondered it literally more hours than it deserves.
That's what you fall asleep thinking about every night, probably.
Hot dogs, maybe. Food in general, yes. It's meat in between bread.
A hot dog is its own category. It's just a hot dog. It's not a sandwich. It's not anything else. It's a hot dog.
All right, I agree. I agree. As a generalization, though, it's meat in between bread. If you agree that burgers and dogs both are good enough to deserve their own category, I will submit to that opinion.
I will absolutely give them their own category.
I'm fine with that then. I'm satisfied.
Excellent. So now we can wrap this up?
Yeah, we should.
Like Jeff's dad should have done 47 years ago?
Well, thank you all for listening. Big thank you to Julie for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you, Julie. You've really classed up this place.
Thank you, Mike.
Our website is stripwalking.com, and we're on all major social media platforms. Thank you again for listening, and may all your sevens show on the come out roll.